Joe Dudes, inspired by life, art, and dreams.
Given the relaxed dress code the way it is now, and things are really, really relaxed, and now you can go to an office, you can wear khakis and a polo. You lose some of the manners, the etiquette that the older generation used to have when they used to dress up.
Game's changed, man.
I'm about to corporate code it up for you. Any client that comes through, my particular organization, that we provide them with these tools and resources, oftentimes they'll be like, okay, I'm just going to interview for this manual labor job or, middle class, whatever the case is, and they feel like, a suit isn't necessarily proper for the interview. Kids need to be taught this. Everyone needs to know this. You should never go into a situation and settle for whatever position that you are working or going through. You have to teach them early on what it is that they need, how they need to present themselves. You got some of these kids that only wear a suit Easter Sunday. But then on the flip side of that, I got guys that come to my organization 40, 50 years old that don't even know how to tie a tie.
Exactly. You go talk to these kids. Of course, you're not going to be like, if you go to on a job interview, you don't need to have a suit on. But what I'm saying, where they're at mentally, when they see you come through that door, they might turn their ears off to you.
As soon as they see their tie,
as soon as they see you look like a suit to them. But you look like a suit.
They don't look like a suit.
And that's it.
So we all recognize that that's a problem.
And
my question and my challenge is, what are we doing to be a part of the solution? Because that's a problem, but is that going to change the way that I approach these guys? No.
Well, then you're doing them a disservice if you don't want to change yourself in order to get them where they need to be.
No, you don't do that. That's the problem in the society today. We dumb stuff down too much and think that these particular kids are not intelligent enough or they aren't responsible enough to understand what it is they need to see and embrace in life. I talk to kids, men of all different ages, backgrounds. It's about professionalism and attire, and also it's also about a transition in life, transitioning from where you are to where you aspire to be. Whether you aspire to be the owner of McDonald's or whether you aspire to be the next Barack Obama, it's about that transition. I'm not going to go in there and say, okay, you know what? Yeah, they from the West End. I'm going to go to the West End Mall and I'm going to talk to them, but I need to, jeans, poke. Nah, I'm going to go as I am and I'm going to talk to them, but there's a different way.
Okay, we understand that child might not have an influential figure as yourself that teaches them to aspire to have a certain dress or a certain urbane philosophy in terms of how they present themselves. Mm-hmm. However, how do you reach, and I'm really on both sides, how do you reach the brother in the back or the young child or the young gentleman in the back who immediately feels like you don't resonate with him as soon as you step in? Because typically, the one that needs the most help won't resonate with that look right away. It might intimidate them, and it's something that they're unfamiliar with. And what do we do if we're unfamiliar with something? We immediately what?
We bust. Exactly. The old adage: it takes a village to raise a kid. It takes a village to continue to breed better citizens.
You talking about 40s and 50s and 60s mentality.
Those mentalities work. But those mentalities work to bring us to where we are today. So why can't those mentalities be put in place collectively to help the problem?
Because when we were coming up, you don't have influences like the media that you have now. Wow. You don't have the internet like you have now.
Internet is huge.
It's huge.
So you just
you talking about
Gentlemen's Roundtable and us, our individual lives. Exactly. It would be my hope that we're sitting here because not just to chop it up about what goes on or whatever, but just to help society as a whole recognize where the missing gaps are and to figure out what we can do collectively as a people to be a part of change as we're challenged by
an observer could say these types of dialogues present a solution. Our walks in our individual lives, in terms of our lifestyle, can present a solution. And you know what? They need to know that it's not just the figure with the suit. Mm-hmm. It might be a figure with a polo shirt and denim that might be an entrepreneur. See, I think there's two paths. There's a formal path of knowledge that we've been taught: go to school, get a job, work corporate, matriculate your way up. But who is telling the informal side, the unorthodox side? A lot of the most wealthy and most successful individuals, they charter a path that doesn't necessarily follow that standard. How do we present a solution to them that lets them know, look, there are two options in which you can go. Both of them still will bring you to a path of success, but one of them isn't quite as mapped out as they might tell you, because this situation doesn't necessarily work. This doesn't teach you how to think laterally. It teaches you how to think linear. You're on a linear path.
Right. Exactly.
What if I want to color outside of the lines a little bit? So
Scribble outside the lines.
Who is helping that artistic or that creative mind to teach them, like, hey, there's another path that you can go that doesn't necessarily.
All the lessons,
it's a collective effort.
All the lessons I ever learned in business, because I run an engineering firm, and all the lessons I ever learned in business were not taught to me in college at all. At all.
What you
learn,
learn,
like you were saying,
really, honestly, I was having this conversation with somebody the other day. It's a great time.
You know what? Now that I think about it, and of course you learn some things in college. I'm not saying college is a waste of time, but more than anything, what I learned in college is how to deal with people. And that was the best lesson that I learned. You know, I mean, because in business, it's trial and error, and you know they don't teach. What they don't teach you is you're going to fail more than you succeed. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's real talk. That's real. And they don't tell you. What they tell you is, oh, you're going to go get a job, and you're going to work here, and it's going to be, 9 to 5, whoop-de-whoop, la 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 la, and that's a crop. It's all a crop, because they set a lot of these kids up for failure, thinking that it's all sweet right after you graduate, and you just live the American dream, get the house with the white fence and the 2.5 and all that. You know what I'm saying? When that ain't the way it is, and that ain't the way the world turns. And like we were discussing earlier, I mean, kids, 15, they got so many influences on them that the way you have to come at these youth now is the game's completely changed. You got to come at them from all types of angles. Right. You know what I'm saying? And the parents, they don't do the job like they're supposed to, but they don't. But I mean, and just to add this, and this is a completely different subject. Right. People got all up in arms with Bill Cosby when he started talking trash. But a lot of what Bill Cosby said was 110% right. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And the truth will make you mad. And you don't want to hear it because maybe your kids he's talking to you.